this is an image of our, on the right, of course, Lama Zopa Rinpoche. And this is an image of the statue we have here in the Gompa. I just thought you might like to see. It's a beautiful image of Tara. And we're very fortunate to have that offered by Lama Zopa Rinpoche. It's a life-size statue offered for someone who passed away for her good future rebirth. So I thought tonight what we'll start with is about half an hour of meditation. We'll do that for the next few classes. So we'll just do a sort of more basic, we won't do all the prayers that are included in the Tara practice, but we'll do, we'll do some of them so that we sort of build up. Maybe by the last class we'll have done all of them. But yeah, we're going to start with meditation and, wait a minute, I need to get my... Okay, my screen a little bit organized as well, sorry. Okay, so let's just get ourselves into meditation position, whatever is your kind of strong place, your place where you sort of feel the mind is a bit more quiet, more clear. Main thing is for practice, for meditation, is to, try and keep the spine aligned, straight. Let's just spend a couple of minutes to go through the posture. Just starting from the crown and scanning the body as we check the posture, the crown pointing up towards the sky like we have a string, sort of attached to the crown. And that, like that, almost like a puppet, string holding the crown. And then like that, the tongue, the chin kind of naturally tucks under. And just with breath and awareness moving through the face, through the eyes, the mouth, just breathing in and exhaling as we breathe in, using breath and awareness to kind of open and relax the body wherever we find tension. So it's a bit like acupuncture, we're using the needle of breath and awareness to kind of soften and open any areas where we sort of hold tension, where there's blocks. The brow, the eyes, breathing in, releasing and relaxing with breath and awareness, and exhaling any stale energy or wind that's in the body. Moving through the neck and the shoulders. Imagine the breath is like light, bringing clarity and softness into the areas where we're a bit tight. The inside and the outside of the body, just checking up and kind of recharging with the vitality of the breath, different points of the body. Checking our shoulders are back and chest is open. Again, we have a few breaths and awareness, just checking down the back, checking our spine, maybe softening up, even inside the body, trying to just connect with the spine and soften down there with breath and awareness. And down in the stomach area, deep inhalation into all the different particles, the skin, kind of all the organs, tissue, blood, muscle, whatever's in the stomach, just again with this kind of point of awareness and breath, like a pin, a needle, like acupuncture, just allowing it when the breath goes in there and awareness to release, open, relax, bring a fresh vitality. And through the hips and all the way down to the toes. Just 2 or 3 breaths, connecting with the whole body. And then in that space, let's do the 9-round breathing. Just again to bring a bit more vitality to our meditation. So clearing out the winds. Stop this for a minute. So if we're not familiar, bring first finger of your right hand, closing off the left nostril, inhaling. Long, slow, deep breath through the right, exhaling through the left 3 times. Moving that first finger. Just long, slow, deep breathing. Inhale, maybe for about the count of 4. And then just allow the exhalation, just the inhalation to sit there for a count, and then exhale 3 times through the other nostril. 3 times. So 3 times on this, doing this way. Then bringing the first finger, the left hand, when you're finished on that side, closing off the right nostril, inhale, long, slow. We notice, as we do these practices, the breath, as we start to settle, the inhalation gets a bit longer, deeper. And for a count, just allow that to settle and create more space in the body. And then exhale 3 times on the other side. And 3 through the both nostrils. And for the count around 4, allowing the breath to settle in the body for a count, and then exhaling 3 times through both nostrils. And then simply just breathe normally for a minute. Just being in that more spacious state of mind, now we've cleared the airs in the body and mind. In that space, clarify your motivation for coming this evening, for attending. What comes up more predominantly in the mind when we connect to our motivation, with the thought of our motivation? So alongside of that, perhaps we can just think, that Basically, studying and practicing Buddhism, it boils down to discovering the evolution of our own life, our lives. The more we gain a certain conviction that all our experiences, positive or negative, originate from our own state of minds, the realm of our own consciousness, then the deeper we start to feel the need to take responsibility for our inner development, the development of our hearts and minds. So in the light of our present shortcomings, still being under the control of certain disturbed states of mind, we discover this more as we delve into the Buddha's teachings, that we have these disturbed states of mind. That much more we recognize that much deeper we feel the need to rely on qualified teachers, teachings, practices for our ongoing spiritual development and general peace of mind. So we also discover in these teachings that we have this beautiful enlightened potential, Buddha nature. Every day we try to remind ourselves we have a precious human life, endowed with at least, which gives us at least this, along with a human body and human intelligence. More importantly, what kind of stands out for us is a curiosity or some kind of deeper faith in the teachings, some kind of intelligence that we recognize the need for spiritual development, and we have a curiosity and faith to follow a certain set of teachings and practices that will guide us out of disturbed states of mind. So in Buddhism, we say that's very precious and rare, not just to have a human life, but to have this sort of spiritual intelligence, this spiritual freedom, richness that guides us on our spiritual path, this kind of faith, our longing, our curiosity in the spiritual teachings. And we have them available to us like almost on a plate, right here in our room, in our house. We have so much access to these teachings, which is also quite rare. And alongside that, we also are in a sort of precarious situation because, human life is fragile. And it's not clear to us when the time of death is, time of death is uncertain. So when we connect in with that, we're living in this space of uncertainty. It's a bit like a storm is brewing. We heard that there's a storm coming, but we don't know exactly when it's going to come. We all know it's there, it's coming somewhere, but how much we kind of really embrace that is, not happen. We don't often do that, we don't really embrace, we just kind of go along with that, some sort of feeling that we're going to live a long time. But in reality, that storm could come at any time. And it just doesn't just sort of upend our house or our belongings. It takes away the whole appearance of this life. We have to leave body, friends, possessions, everything we have to leave behind. So in reality, we're all in this vulnerable place that, and we haven't gained a certain level of control over that process of death yet, So in the first level, and the first capable being level in this practice, this is where we are, we rely on kind of the wisdom and the guidance of holy beings, to protect us at these precarious times. So that's one level of protection that Tara offers, protection for the time of death. Because she's developed all these enlightened qualities, all this capacity of mind and heart, these main qualities and wisdom and compassion, method and wisdom, that allows her to glide through slowly, not just through the process of death and rebirth, but she's completely liberated for that. And her quality is to liberate us from that process. She's called Tara, the Liberator. She, in an essence, she's her body, she springs forth from this deep place of inner peace. So let's think, for us to attain that level of inner peace, to overcome all the disturbances in our mind, to gain at least a certain peace at the time of death, if not liberation and enlightenment, but at least a level of peace. And also for all beings who are in this state of kind of being on the waves of existence, under the control of the current of delusion, we're going to do this practice at Tara, who has this ability and quality to free us from all these different levels of fears and obstacles. That's her main quality or embodiment, or our main way, activity to help us. So let's start by visualizing, try to imagine we're in that deep space. There's a deep space where all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas kind of manifest. It's called the truth body. It's almost like the deep stillness of the ocean when you go deep, deep down into very deep body of water, like an ocean. There's a quietude there. It's very peaceful and deep and clear. So try to feel we're in that space, that space where it's just so silent and still. And in that space starts to spring forth. On our crown, this image of Tara, this quality of Tara, like a reflection on those still waters, starts to manifest just a few inches above our crown. This beautiful lotus, open lotus, soft and fragrant. And that lotus is kind of showing her non-attachment. Just like the purity of lotus comes out of, when the lotus is born from mud, it's free, has this beauty, and it's freed from that mud. Similarly, all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas appear on this lotus, showing their kind of renunciation or freedom from attachment to samsara, cyclic existence. That purity of mind and heart. And just top of that, there's the sort of crystal-like moon. The seat, again, a seat that all the holy beings rest on. The seat of bodhicitta that embodies equanimity, like the moon shining equally in all beings. This mind of bodhicitta, this awakening heart, embracing all beings, wishing to benefit all beings, is embodied in this moon cushion and within the quality of Tara. So she rests on that, showing that that's her that's what she does, that's her responsibility. That mind of bodhicitta is always rested firmly in her heart. Then the holy body, this green emerald light, just like a reflection on the deep still water, but very clear and radiant. So her whole body's translucent, but still very vibrant and real, like the green embodying the quality of the wind or air element. She has her body's like 16-year-old, very youthful, eternally youthful. She has her legs, one leg, left leg is in, right leg is forward, like she's stepping forward to always be at our aid and swiftly at our aid or protection. Even if we can't see her, just try to feel this radiant, kind of jewel-like quality of Tara, embodying the qualities of a really kind mother, the qualities of protection, fearlessness, the qualities of being an ultimate refuge for us in times of temporary fear, and also times when we try to develop much more deeper, go through the deeper, more unconscious fears that arise because of the delusions, So she can eliminate all these different layers of fear and confusion in the mind. That's her quality. So as we see in the image here, we just try and get that sense that that female aspect of Tara's on her crown. Then we make this heartfelt prayer so we can say together, please remain above my head until I receive enlightenment. So, it says that as soon as we think of the Buddhas, even without thinking, the Buddhas are always on our crown. It's just that we don't connect or communicate with them a way to always feel that. But due to their enlightened quality, they're always present with us, always there, loving, caring, protecting us. Just has to come from our side to communicate and feel that connection. So these prayers have a power to do that, open up that connection. So then, remembering that we're all in this cycle existence, we're not free from disturbing emotions. We're not really able to have mastery over our death process yet. So we need the guidance, we need the protection until we remove the delusions and until we have, if we open up this bodhisattva attitude, then until we develop bodhicitta, then we continually have to rely on the Buddhas, in this case Tara, the teachings and the spiritual community. These three limbs, these three supports we need until we have, kind of really a deeper freedom from disturbing emotions and until we've developed more fully this bodhisattva attitude, quality in our hearts and mind. So together we recite the refuge one time in Tibetan, twice in English. Sangye chodan sogi chognamla janchu bardu dagni kyapsuchi dagi jinso gebe sonamgi drola penjir sangye drupar sho sangye chodan sogi chognamla janchu bardu dagni kyapsuchi dagi jinso gebe sonange drola penjir sangye drupar shog. I take refuge until I'm enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my merit from giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit transmigratory beings. So tonight we're just going to do the short mandala. So before we receive the blessing of Tara, any practice, we need to, open our hearts. And how we do that is by practicing a type generosity, as we offer. We're able to receive as we're open, we're able to, really receive more deeply in our hearts the blessing. So to create the environment for that, we offer. So we offer a mandala, the universe, whatever our own enjoyments are. Even we can think our body, speech, and mind, whatever we feel attached to. So, for those of us who already know the more deeper visualization of the mandala, we can do that, this world system with all the enjoyments, beautiful places, parks, sun and moon. And if we know the mudra, we can offer the mudra as well, to help with the visualization. Otherwise, we just offer mentally everything beautiful that we enjoy, that we own, that we don't own, as much as we can, filling the earth and sky, and offer to the heart of Tara. Osaji bogi Jushimedo Ramri Rabling Nye de Gempadi Sangye Shindu Meteu War Yiru Gunamdak Jina Cho Parshu. This ground, anointed with perfume, strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, 4 continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine it as a Buddha land and offer it. May all transmigratory beings enjoy this pure land. Yeram Guru Ratna Mandala Kamneyatayami. So we try and feel Tara, that offering, whatever we imagine, dissolves into light into the heart of Tara, and she gets kind of blissed out and happy. She's really pleased with her offering. And then we'll just touch on these purifications. So purification request, please bless me to purify, we can say together, all obscurations of my body so that it will become one in essence with Guru Tara's holy Vajra body. Here we visualize white light like an arc coming from the crown of Tara, or her brow, sorry, and curves and enters into my brow. So very powerful psychic white light. But this nature of pacifying it comes into her brow and completely cleanses all our negativities of body, killing karma, stealing karma, sexual misconduct. So anything we've done this in past lives, deep cleaning, like powerful psychic-like shower, filling all the pores of our body, and then receiving within that all the qualities of Tara's holy body. So purifying. And even the imprints to kill, sometimes we kill bugs. We don't mean to, we stand on them in the car. So just purifying, or even the unconscious killing karma that we create day to day. Stealing, even small things we take by mistake. Sexual disharmony, disharmony with partners, lack of trust, all that just purified. And then when we're empty of that, we fill up with the white light of Tara's holy body, her youthfulness, that vital energy, that wind energy that she embodies, that's like the wind, just has this power to sweep away inner and outer obstacles of our body. We receive all that. In request for next one, please bless me to purify all obscurations of my speech so that it will become one in essence with Guru Tara's holy Vajra speech. Now we visualize red light like an arc coming from her throat chakra, the A there, and curves in an arc and enters through into my throat, or my speech throat chakra. My speech is purified of all obscurations. So purifying. So what do we do with our speech? What things with our speech that aren't always beneficial? Maybe divisive, harsh speech, lack of patience that comes out in our speech, so speech is a bit rough, unkind. Not just this life, but all the past lives, deep cleansing of the throat with the red light, and all the beginningless speech karma that disempowers our speech right now. Cleaning that out. And then receiving the light, the blissful red light of Tara's enlightened speech. So that has the power, just by hearing a few words, it kind of deeply impacts your mind, when we hear from holy beings, when they talk, their speech has this power to sort of have a deep impression on our being, We remember it. It resonates deeply in our heart. So that kind of power of speech to benefit others, we receive Tara. Please bless me to purify all obscurations of my mind so it will become one in essence with Guru Tara's holy Vajra mind. Blue light, now a sort of deep blue light, almost like the blue here in the back of the screen, emanates from the home at Arya Tara's heart and curves in an arc to enter my heart. My mind is purified of all obscurations becomes one in essence with Guru Tara's Holy Vajra mind. So now our heart chakra gets filled up with this blissful blue light and nectar coming from deep within the heart of Tara's sort of wisdom and compassion. So the whole light's embodying that quality, all the particles of light and nectar embodying that deep quality she has of wisdom, the depth or the breadth of her compassion towards all beings, filling up her heart, cleansing her mind of ill will. You know, that habit to think sort of negatively of others or maybe impatiently towards others. Wrong views or sort of not knowing of karma, the law of causality, cleansing that. And cleansing ignorant view, you know, this kind of blocked misperception we have of reality. That just gets cleansed, deep cleaning. And then we receive that depth of Katara's wisdom, the peacefulness that it brings in our heart, you know, like this deep ocean, that blue light filling up the heart, just like the depth of the ocean, filling up our whole being, spreading out, filling our whole being. And then in that space, we ask further for the blessings of Tara. So along at Tara's heart, you know, in Tara's heart also, what's present there is a very small moon cushion with this syllable tam, or we can just think TAM, seated on the moon cushion. It embodies the essence. Each of the deities have this syllable that's the essence of their qualities. And Tara's is tam. And like a beautiful mantra garland of pearls, the mantra is circling on this garland, on this, on this moon cushion at our heart. And just like we see in the image, it sort of radiates out as we chant the mantra together. Again, visualizing with our heart, just being filled, light and nectar streaming down, filling us up, entering our crown and just filling us up, removing our fears. So really touching our obvious fears, touching our deeper fears that all ultimately arise from our wrong view of self, you know, our mistaken view of reality. So cleansing temporary fears that happen day to day, and the deeper fears, that arise from anger, that arise from attachment, that arise from the main problem, the main perpetrator, the sort of our ignorant view, you know, close-mindedness to how we exist. So all that is embodied in the quality of the mantra, and we feel we're receiving all that inspiration, all that deep wisdom, profound wisdom of Tara as we chant a few of the mantras together. Om Dari Du Re Soha. 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 Om Dari do ta re do re so ha. Om da re do ta re do re so. And take a moment just to feel the energy of the mantra, the quality of the mantra in your being. Again, like the wind sweeping away, there's this quality sweeping away our obstacles. It's like it sweeps away, the dust of the delusion, the dust of confusion that obscures the sort of mirror-like quality of our consciousness. One quality of our consciousness, our mind, is that it's able to reflect. Once it's cleared of the dust, the kind of mist or cover of delusion, attachment, anger that disturb or cover the mind like a blanket. Once it's free from that, it's this natural reflective quality. Naturally, our mind just reflects how things, how others, how ourself exist without effort. So Tara sweeps them, with that energy, the wind off the mind, and reveals that more mirror-like quality that is our actual state, our actual nature. And then we feel, that she's, it's always important to feel that Tara's always pleased, at the end of the practice, really pleased, happy, delighted with her. We've opened up to communicate with Tara, receive her blessing. And we have this aspiration and wish to become closer and closer to our enlightened qualities. That's all the Buddhas and Bodhisattva wish. That's their only desire, to guide us closer to enlightenment, guide us out of the pain of this situation we're in right now. So whatever virtue we create, there's a great delight from their side, So we feel that delight, happiness. And she dissolves gradually, like mist in a mirror, into a small ball of radiant, blissful green light. And again, that light moves through her crown, touching her crown again, blessing her whole body with the quality of Tara. Moving in through her speech, into her throat chakra, blessing her speech with the kind of sweet quality of enlightened speech, the patience, the kind of gentleness. So there's a power, but there's also a gentleness and a sweetness that comes from enlightened speech. And then moving further into her heart, connecting with the deepest part of her consciousness or being, most subtle wind and mind, clear light, nature that exists in her heart chakra. And just kind of blessing that, inspiring that, waking that up. So her whole being gets filled with light. Just seeps out in through her pores. All the cells of her body get filled with light. And this essence of Tara. And in that place, we just always remember this is our ultimate nature, one with Tara, one with all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. This is me. Okay, so when you're ready, we'll come out of the meditation and share the new screen. We can see that? I think so, yeah. A slideshow. Oh, okay. Did anyone have any questions? I didn't do the full meditation on Tara. I know some of you are familiar with that, but at least something to get. Otherwise, it'd take the whole class. And it's supposed to be a teaching on Tara, not just a meditation. So, did anyone have any questions or comments with that meditation? Was it clear enough? Yes, no, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, Sue's, yeah, okay, good. So just, I wondered if I did send some reading materials. I wonder if anyone had the chance to read any of the materials that I sent the links for. Did we get an opportunity, get an inspiration to do that? Any hands? I'm looking. If you didn't,
Excuse me, there's a question on chat.
okay, great.
Can
Please.
do you want to hear it?
Yes.
Can you use this as purification practice like Vajrasattva?
Yes, definitely. Each of these praxis have a little bit different qualities, so you can. I mean, it's definitely purifying because when you do the light, you purify, is who asked the question? I didn't see in the chat. I
Hold
thought
on.
it was maybe Anna Marie, yeah. I had a
It
feeling
is.
Anna Marie, yeah.
It was.
I thought that was an Anna Marie question, yeah. Yeah, you can use it like Vajrasattva, but definitely, but the Vajrasattva has a sort of special power when it comes to purification, I mean, because you're really bringing to mind the Vajrasattva, the four opponent powers there, which have a particular power to purify. So excuse me, definitely when you do any of these practices, Tara, medicine, Buddha, there's an element of purification, absolutely, and it depends on your particular connection with these. Some people have, maybe we've practiced Tara a lot in previous lives, so we feel a deep connection with Tara. So every time when we do the practice, it's going to bring about a deeper purification or accumulation of merit. It does a little bit depend on our different connections with the praxis, but so yes, it can be used for purification, but if you want to engage in sort of really stronger purification, Vajrasattva definitely has that kind of quality. Vajrasattva and the 35 Buddhas, and also like water bowls, they have this kind of power for pure, if you want to do a really deep clean, But every time you do the Tara practice, there's definitely a level of purification. There's always purification, there's always accumulating merit. The idea with something like Tara is again, the main sort of emphasis with Tara is it is purifying, but it's kind of liberating us for fears, So when we have a temporary fear, and then of course we have layers of fear, right? Because we have confusion about how we exist, and that prompts and creates all level of fear, in our life. And we're actually going to go into this evening the types of fears that Tara liberates from. So you do purify, definitely. And but the emphasis is on this kind of removing obstacles and fears. Does that help answer your question?
Yes, thank you. It did. Thank you very
Okay,
much.
great. Thanks for your question. So yeah, so I did ask, anyone able to do a little bit of reading on Tara? I'm looking through to see if I see any hands coming up. It's okay if you didn't. Some of us know quite a bit about Tara already. So just to go over, I didn't quite get to the sort of history of Tara in terms of there's two sort of legends about how Tara came about. And I think some of us are already familiar with either one or both of them. Would anyone like to share or give it a go and sharing maybe one of them that we know about what were the legend of Tara, how she was born, how she came about? Some of you ladies or gentlemen who maybe know something. Can I see any hands? We want to get courageous here. You can see you've already got a good start. It's up on the screen.
Oh,
Sue, is that Sue?
yes, unless somebody else wants to.
Yeah, no,
Shall
no,
I?
Sue, please. So you
Okay.
can share one of them, maybe one that you
Okay,
know.
yeah. The Born from the Tear of Chenrezig, can I do that one?
Yes, yes.
Um, what I remember about that is that Chenrezig said that he would help sentient beings, and if he didn't, he would break into 1,000 pieces. Is that correct? if he was gonna stay until he helped all sentient beings.
That's
And
one aspect of Chinrizig. Yep, that's why he achieved. He had the 1,000 arms. He came back again with 1,000 arms. That's that part of
then,
his story. And
so
then
then
in terms of his
oh wait, I'm
connection
gonna
with Tara.
continue
Yep,
about what happened with Tara then. So then he was so sad one time because he looked at the state after eons of helping, and the state was still terrible. The state of affairs was still terrible, and he got so sad. And I don't remember whether he broke into the 1,000 pieces or not, but he cried. He was so sad and he cried, and the tear fell, and Tara came and said, I'm going to help you. Something like
yeah, that's right. She sprung forth from that tear of Chinrizig. So he, as you were saying, so he was kind of devastated. It's like he'd been liberating billions of beings for eons, and he looked, as you said, he looked up around across the whole, I don't know how many universes or whatever, and it's like, it doesn't seem to be any end. So a little bit, I guess a little bit desperation or sadness, you know, as you say, and then he cried, and then from that, it was either like an ocean, and from the ocean sprung Tara's lotus, and from there she sprung, you know, the holy body sprung, and she was said, you know, she basically said, you know, I will help you, you know. I will help you to liberate the beings. And so she became, it's a bit like she has this quality, I mentioned it in the previous class, it's like even Chinrizic has the male aspect, yeah? So here comes Tara and the female aspect, like being the backbone of any of any strong, you know, any strong, powerful man, there's always a female in the background, yeah. So again, it reflects this kind of energy, Tara. Just she's always going to be there no matter what, no matter how difficult the challenge. She's taking that on, you know, to benefit others, to get them into enlightenment. She'll manifest in any way she can to try in any situation to try and remove fears and obstacles for others. So yeah, that's good, Sue. That's the first one. Anyone want to try?
But one more, can I say one more? Is
Yes,
that
yeah.
I thought that that story reminds me that if the state of affairs is ongoing like that, sometimes I think we think, oh my gosh, the world, it's so horrible, and look at it and look at it. But really, I think it's ongoing. Just like a story like that reminds me that yes, there is so much suffering and we notice, but it seems like it's ongoing. It's not just now. That's what it gave to me too.
You
That
felt like that as well, yeah. Yeah, definitely, yeah. And I mean, of course, here we're talking about not just like suffering as in war, harm for the elements. Of course, all that's very prevalent right now. But we're also talking about these divine beings who can feel all the layers of suffering that we've got. We just see that's just all gross level of suffering, yeah. I mean, it's horrible, but it's gross suffering. They know they can see gross suffering, and then all the subtle sufferings that we'll go into a little bit more when we go over the meaning of the mantra, you know, they feel intensely. It's like there's some analogy where when you have a level, when you're a certain level of bodhisattva, the sufferings of sentient beings, it's like you feel it like constantly having something in your eye, you know. It's that level of sensitivity, like like this pain in your eyeball. You're always feeling the suffering of sentient being, and not just like, you know, war, harm for the elements, but, you know, we have pervasive suffering. We're circling continually in cyclic existence. So that level of suffering as well, he thought he'd liberated so many beings, so there must be some difference in the amount of beings, and beings are still limitless, you know. So that's where Tara came with her kind of everlasting enthusiasm and boldness and courage to take it on as well and to support and help. So yeah, that's the first one. Then this next kind of legend or Tara, how she was born, how she came about as a princess called Wisdom Moon. Did anyone read it? I guess if we didn't do any reading, we might not be no hands appearing. Mary, you don't know? Mary? I'm gonna pick on you, Mary.
I was wondering, where is the reading? Is it on the email or?
Yeah, we sent out, I think Kim sent it out on the first email. I sent out 3 links. I mean, you
Okay.
can buy, there's a wonderful book by Lama Zopa Rinpoche called The Power of Mantra, and it has Tara practice, it has Medicine Buddha, Vajrasattva. It's actually really great because it's like your little booklet for all the main deities and Kriya Tantra. You know, Tara, Medicine, Buddha, and it tells you all about them. So, of course, you can purchase that, but I also sent you some links. So if you can't purchase something, you can just look at the links, and it also gives you some of this, you know, some background on Tara.
So someone's asking the name. There's this thing on the
Yes.
chat.
Can you just read it out, Sue?
What is the name of the book?
The Power of Mantra by Lama Zopa Rinpoche. And I think that did come out as well on the mailing list. But maybe Sue, could I ask you, Sue or Julia, to send that out again, that email, just to remind everybody of the readings?
Power of Mantra. Could you do that, Julia? Because you're the email person, or I could do it if you don't.
Yeah, yeah. Just so we have a, if you're
Yeah,
able to
I
read
can
up
do
and
it. Like I just sent it to Mary again. Everybody that's registered should have gotten that email with the 3 pieces of material to read and another email with a Zoom link and saying you're registered. So
Thank you.
I can make a group link because I have everybody's email and send the material list out again after class.
Okay, thank you, Julia. Yeah. And of course it's
Thank you.
optional, but it's not heavy reading, it's quite light, and it's, you know, it's really interesting and a good support for this practice. So yeah, the other legend that comes around from Tara is more about coming from the place that she was actually a female practitioner who was born eons ago, and an eon is like quite a long, inconceivable amount, thousands and thousands of years. And she was born in this time. There's many Buddhas I mentioned in the last class. We're in this eon time called the Good Kalpa, where 1,000 Buddhas will appear. Well, she was a practitioner before this time, you know, before this Kalpa, some time ago, when there was a Buddha called Drum Sound, you know, and she was very respected. She was a princess called Wisdom Moon, and she was like a pure sort of female Dharma practitioner, you know, and she was always making extensive offerings, and her whole goal was to develop bodhicitta. That's what she wanted to do. And even the monks at that time, so again, it must have been in a period when monks had more status, men had more status, because the monks at that time said that, you know, they even praised her and said she's a wonderful practitioner. So in your future life, if you pray to be a man, you'll really be able to benefit the Dharma. And her reply was, there are many who desire enlightenment in a man's body, but few who work for the benefit of beings in a female body. Therefore, until samsara is empty, I shall work for beings in a woman's body. Yee-haw! We can say. Now, not that Buddhism is sexist in any way, but that's just showing that we can achieve enlightenment in a male or female body, and that's what she depicts as well. This quality of femininity, and also this, you know, also that, you know, Buddhism's not sexist, you know, you don't have to have a male body to achieve enlightenment. So she continued to practice for many eons, and she developed this level of concentration that allowed her, called all liberating concentration, and it allowed her to live for many, many lifetimes and achieve, develop renunciation and liberation, and, you know, become enlightened in this female aspect. So that's another, you know, and sort of more inspiring story of how she, you know, she made this vow to always come back in a female form. So you can say, you know, there's many female practitioners that have come even in this time of the Buddha's teachings, you know. Yeshe Tsogyal, she was you know, the spiritual sort of consort of Guru Rinpoche, Majik Labdron. She was this great Chu. She founded the sort of lineage of Chu, you know, cutting through the ego. And even now we have great females like Tenzin Palmo, you know, who's done so much, long retreat and started a nunnery. So there's, you know, and of course Kajula, you know, her name includes Tara, you know, she's regarded as an embodiment of Tara. So just, you know, rejoicing in that fact that, you know, she vowed to come back, and we can see great examples of female practitioners through this, through these many you know, centuries of the Buddhism being in the East and now coming to the West. So that's a couple of the legends of Tara. So we can sort of work with whatever one maybe works with us, inspires us. So we touched on this last week, so I'm just going to sort of go over quickly. The green colour, again, it was 2 weeks ago, so we had a bit of a gap. The green colour, so what does Tara's holy body really signify? So all these Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and we won't be able to remember all of this, but we just touch on the points. You know, Tara's holy body, that green colour. So, you know, and sometimes we see Tara in a white colour or a red colour. But right now, the green symbolises this activity of sort of vivid. This comes from Lama Zopa Rinpoche, you know. Rinpoche says it's granting your wishes, the purification of envy or jealousy, and the purification of that aggregate form and showing success in action. So this kind of, you know, Tara embodies enlightened activity. So in a sense, you know, we can also say it also signifies the wind element, that the activity of the wind. So she's actively benefiting millions and millions of beings, you know, millions of beings, you know, so many, the Tibetans rely wholeheartedly on Tara when they have any problem or obstacle. That's just part of what they do, you know, it's deep-seated in the culture. And it's one of the main practices, along with Om Mani Padme Hum. Tara mantra and Tara praises are like deep-seated, and even like as a Lamo was saying, sorry, Lamo, our Sherpa friend who's come, she says that, you know, even growing up, you know, this is one of the main practices that they did, you know, Chenrezig practice and Tara practice, even though they don't know all the elements of Tara, it's just, this is a deep faith and conviction in the Tara practice that whatever fear or obstacle we have, Tara's going to come to our aid. So that somebody's still got their volume on. Is it, we're getting some sound effects of that. Is it Mary maybe? Got her volume on? Mary, anyway, just check if you've got your volume on. You may want to mute yourself. So it's also what the green quality signifies, you know, like you could say the wind is like chi, you know, this element of chi that is through in nature. So it also signifies her deep connection with nature and her active compassion towards all sentient beings. It's like it's kind of iconic of life and growth, lushness, and this kind of vital wind energy. So even down to the essence of our consciousness, you know, our most subtle consciousness, clear light, that what it's called, you know, its conventional nature is clear light. Always along with our mind, whether it's a gross or subtle level, we have an element of wind. It's like the two ride together. The mind is always accompanied with a level of a wind element, even at the most subtle level. So in a sense, you know, Tara's always with us, you know, because wherever our consciousness is, there's always this element of wind, and that's what she embodies. Or you could say the wind, you know, or lung. In Tibetan, they use the word lung. Of course, we get familiar with that term the more we study Tibetan Buddhism. But wind is kind of like lung, or just like the breath, you know, we need to breathe for life, you know. So she's kind of brings the life into everything, that she has this life force energy.
So someone wrote something on the chat.
Mm-hmm.
It says, what about Venerable Angie, Venerable Robbins, Pema Children, and others? This is a Mary Whiteman. I guess she's just saying them more female.
Okay, yes. But that's
Venerable
very sweet.
Robin.
But I'm not sure I'm Tara yet, but you know, one makes constant strides and efforts. But yeah, I mean, as I say, there's wonderful female practitioners, you know, we're very, and you know, fortunately, culturally now, we are able to get a lot more access to teachings, even for Easterners as well. Culture's changing, so female have a sort of more balanced power. So it's easier to practice. I mean, in the old days, you know, if you read some of these life stories of these female practitioners, wow, 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 Yeshe Tsogyal, oh, not easy to practice in those times, not easy, because so much male domination, you know. So they went through great hardship. These days, we don't have so much, we don't have that excuse. So, because we have all the access to the teachings, you know, but it's quite incredible to read some, Yeshe Tsogyal's life is quite amazing, because that was really in a time and a culture where, you know, women didn't have much access or kind of equality with the teachings, so they had to put much, much more effort to achieve spiritual realization. So it's very encouraging. And even Tenzin Palmo's life, again, very encouraging, because she did still go through quite a lot of challenges with the culture around her at that time, because she came into a Tibetan monastery and they were still sort of kind of more influenced by the culture of Tibet at that time. But things are changing, so even in their culture. So we're very fortunate. Anyway, thank you. So again, behind this, and I noticed, ladies, from Pamtinkpa Centre, you have in your tanka this tree. I think I saw last week, I saw on the back screen, I saw your tanka, and you have an image of this tree. So Tara's also, she's often connected with the nature, as I said, because of her colour and the elements. And so again, very appropriate to do a lot of Tara practice, I think, now when we're experiencing a lot of harm for the elements. But she's associated with the acacia tree. And that tree has this kind of healing quality, healing ability. And it's also emphasizing not just her nature, her kind of, connection with nature, but also the healing qualities that she embodies. So she's also very powerful for healing, doing Tara practice. Sometimes we'll see her named as Kandaravani Tara. When you do the Tara Puja, actually it mentions there Kandaravani Tara, and that actually means Tara of the acacia forest, the forest where there's the acacia tree. So just out of interest, if you come across that, it's relating to our connection with tree and the nature and our ability to be able to, heal. And just, again, touching very briefly on the aspects of her holy body, she's very youthful, as I mentioned in the meditation. Again, showing that she's beyond birth and death, this youthful energy. She embodies that youthfulness, as all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas do. They're all young, they're all youthful, showing that they've gone beyond aging and decay. They're in, actually what she embodies here. So maybe again, wee bit Q&A, checking out everybody's knowledge. There's different types of bodies that the Buddhas have. That's the whole, when we get into the realm of sort of high yoga tantra, the aim is to develop these 3 bodies of the Buddha. So right now we have our body, yeah? Everybody has a body. We have our normal body, but this body is subject to birth, death, and aging, right? We all get that now. As we get older, it's like, aha, so that's where we are right now. But what Buddha, the Buddha's teachings, they guide us out of samsara so we go beyond birth and death. That's the whole point. By transforming our mind into the path, we gradually go beyond these realms of birth, the realm of birth and death. So what we want to achieve is these kind of forever bodies of the Buddha. They're forever youthful and they have these incredible qualities and realizations to guide us. So there's different bodies of the Buddha. Anybody want to, Kaya is a body in the Sanskrit. Anybody want to hazard a guess of what are the 2 main bodies of the Buddha that we're aiming for? Life has meaning. You look like you're saying something. You want to try?
Rupa Kaya,
Yay!
Kaya,
Rupa Kaya and,
Samoga Kaya.
yeah. Rupa Kaya means what?
That is the form body, right?
Yeah. And what is the Sambhoga Kaya?
Is that the subtle consciousness body?
Well, it is subtle consciousness body. What's its kind of direct translation?
I'm sorry, I don't know.
Anyway, you got part of the way there. Well done. Mary Engel.
The truth body.
Yeah, and what's the truth body? And I'm just and what's that in Sanskrit? Truth body.
The Dharmakaya.
Yes, yep. And then the Rupakaya is what body?
Form body.
Form body. And then Sambhogakaya.
Truth body, form body.
That's the emanation body?
Almost. Is that Eloise? Eloise? No, who said emanation body?
I didn't.
Sorry.
Stella?
Okay. Stella, yeah, it's actually there is an emanation body, but it's not Sambhogakaya. Sue, which one is this one?
This is the Sambhogakaya. It's the deities of the Sambhogakaya, and we can't see them, but I don't know the translation.
So anyway, just to, what Sambhogakaya means is enjoyment body.
Oh,
So you're right, Stella, it is an emanation body. It's a type emanation body. And more specifically, it's the Sambhogakaya, this one, And there's another one that's called manifestation or an emanation, that's Nirmanakaya. Looks a little bit different because sometimes you see when you see the normal Buddha, the regular Buddha with the begging bowl and that, there's no ornaments. So just for those, a little bit maybe interesting. So the Nirmanakaya is the emanation body that doesn't have the ornaments, it's called manifestation body or sometimes emanation body. And then the form bodies of the Buddha are like the Sambhogakaya body, the enjoyment body. So Chenrezig, Tara, who else? Medicine Buddha is the Nirmanakaya because it doesn't have all the ornaments. Who else am I thinking of? There's many enjoyment bodies. Even Vajrayogini, Chittimani Tara, all the ones that are adorned with ornaments are what we call a type of enjoyment body, So these are only seen, and you're right, they're only seen by a certain level of bodhisattva. But in this practice, what we're trying, in this practice and all these practices, we're trying to get near to the inner and the outer qualities of the deity. So when we do 100,000 mantras, it's like a nearing, it's bringing us nearer to that quality. So all these enjoyment bodies, Sambhogakaya, all have this aspect of being youthful because they've gone beyond birth, old age, sickness, and death. And they're all adorned with beautiful ornaments. And again, it's showing the beauty of their inner realizations and their qualities. Again, her aspect is very peaceful. So sometimes you have wrathful deities, but this one, Tara's very peaceful. We have very beautiful, sort of smiling, like a good friend, a very sweet friend, very sweet, beautiful smile. So again, bringing that sort of pacifying and healing feeling when we visualize her. Her right hand is in the mudra of sublime generosity there, So that often you see that, even Chenrezig, his right hand, there's an aspect to Chenrezig, as Sue mentioned, that has 1,000 arms. So he also has one of his hands is in this aspect of always sublime generosity, granting sublime realizations. So when we visualize Tara, even if we can't see all the Tara, maybe we just want to focus on the hand and that quality, of always granting us our temporary and ultimate needs. There's kind of, what that signifies is there's no resistance in her generosity. We us, sometimes we're like, there's a bit of hesitation. They're like, yeah. I mean, many of us here I know are generous, but we don't have this kind of perfection of generosity yet, and we're just not there yet. It's okay. What's that showing us? She's perfected generosity because she's removed all the subtleties of kind of grasping at an eye, this kind of mind of cherishing or feeling like we have a certain importance over others, our happiness. When that's all removed, then there's just this perfection of generosity. All you're doing is offering other sentient beings. You don't have a sensate eye that needs to be cared and protected and looked after. So even just focusing in on little bits, when we do the practice, maybe we just want to focus on that beautiful smile and what that embodies, that pacifying feeling, and being embraced by that compassion, or the quality of Buddha's, that mudra, just that quality giving. That endless quality, it can sort of waken maybe more sense of generosity and giving up in us that's free from fear. The left hand is in the gesture of refuge granting. So that means, and actually it's not really clear in this image, but this is an image that Lama Zopa Rinpoche used. He obviously thought this was a really good quality image of Tara, because Rinpoche often gave out, when he went to teachings, he would often have many images of Buddhas and offer them out to students. So this was one of the ones that Rinpoche offered out. That's why I used it. So that sort of right hand, I'm a bit dyslexic. I don't dyslexic, but I often get the right and the left mixed up. So this one, And actually what she's doing, she's holding it's actually the three fingers here, and we'll see it in another image. It's not clear in this image, but there's the finger, because the third finger here is associated with bodhicitta. You know how we wear, wait a minute, left hand, sorry. Isn't it the left ring finger that we wear the wedding ring on, yeah? Isn't that the wedding band finger, yeah? So interestingly enough, there's a special channel, they say, that goes to the heart from that ring finger. So I think that's curious over time how it kind of came to that place. Somewhere long ago, somebody maybe saw that, you know, you've got a special channel that goes to the heart there. So it's associated with bodhicitta, and the thumb's supposed to be associated with method. So these two together, bodhicitta or wisdom, bodhicitta and wisdom. And then the other three are fingers showing the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. So showing that she has, in whatever situation, we can rely on her. You know, we take refuge in her. She has this refuge granting gesture, this ability. So that's what that left hand is signifying. Again, all these mudras and gestures, they're it's a way that they sort of communicate. A Mahan mudra means gesture, and it's a way of that like somehow through that sign, there's a communication going on. So when we visualize that, it has a certain impact on our mental continuum, even though we can't get the visualization clear, just by looking at the body, it's sort of communicating that quality to us through these hand gestures, through the placement of the legs and the hands and the eyes. Everything has a meaning and power and quality that kind of opens up or awakens our mind. Then here we have the lotuses that she holds in her hand. So actually there's two aspects of Tara. There's the Chittimani Tara, which is High Yoga Tantra. So usually in the High Yoga Tantra, she has two lotuses, and usually you'll often see in the Kriya, the lower Tantra, this one, she has one lotus, holding only one lotus. But I think, just to clarify that, but I think in many ways it doesn't matter, but I always got confused. How come she's got one lotus sometimes and two the other times? So it's because of it's related to the different tantras. But here we're using, you know, a lot of images, she is holding two lotuses, and that's the image that Lama Zopa Rinpoche used to use all the time. So she's holding this blue or night lotus, Uppala, it's called in Sanskrit. And actually, it's a flower that releases its fragrance with the appearance of the moon. So she's also, again, last week I mentioned her name means Tara or star. And she's also associated with the moon in the night. So it's said that there's actually an all-night Tara practice that you can do. Has anyone done that practice before? So, yeah.
We've done it for a number of years with Tenzin here.
Oh, wonderful. Great.
Yeah.
Very good, yeah.
But we haven't done it in the past couple of years, but
Yeah,
we did it for a few years anyway, 3 or so times.
Wonderful, yeah. Well, I'm thinking, I did it last year here at Vajrapani, actually on Christmas night. And we're not doing it this year, but I may do it during Losar. I'll see how our schedule goes. But anyway, it's an all-night Tara. It's a tradition of doing all-night Tara because the blessings of Tara are supposed to be quite potent at night. So this practice was developed to kind of, you know, receive that sort of more powerful blessing through the night.
Maybe if you come visit, we could do it here.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Especially if it's warm out, you know, it's
Yeah,
nice.
That's true. That's true. So that's a good idea, yeah. And so, yeah, so that's what the blue's kind of signifying that that type of lotus that it opens up at night and releases a fragrance. So it's kind of signifying this power. You can recite Tara praises any time. It doesn't mean that you need to get up in the middle of the night. That's the only time you can do it. But it's just showing that there's a certain power around that time. And Lama Zopa Rinpoche said himself, he also said that, you know, they would often do that at Kopan as well. So our hair and yeah, so the other aspect is our hair is also tied up and it's kind of, I'm not sure the whole meaning of that. I couldn't find the meaning of why, but you often see that with the holy beings, and I think it's just I think in the time of India it was maybe a sign of royalty when half of the hair is bound up and the rest is down, and you know she's got tiaras and many kind of holy beings. So I think it's some sort of royal sign, you know, and showing that she's, you know, I mean, basically she's achieved all these kind of royal qualities of enlightened consciousness. And also in the middle of her tiara, you'll see, you can kind of see here, there's a red, her tiara has a red, like a ruby, and that's signifying her connection with Buddha Amitabha. All the Buddhas belong to, there's kind of the 5 families, and they all signify different, they all embody certain wisdoms. And so Tara's connected with Buddha Amitabha. Sometimes you'll see Tara with a red, either with a red ruby in her crown, or sometimes on her crown there's a small image of Buddha Amitabha, showing that he's the head of the family that she's, you know, she's part of. Then the moon behind her, she's always backed by a moon, and that is symbolizing the fullness of her inexhaustible happiness. So I think we're not going to do that one this week. I just wanted, before we finish, the time goes very fast. Any other questions, first of all? Comments?
I had a question.
Yes, Sue?
In Nirmanakaya, can we consider like the His Holiness Dalai Lama say in Nirmanakaya? I've heard that before, like our
Yes.
teachers.
Yeah, there's
Or-
different levels, you're right. There's different levels of manifestation body. So Nirmanakaya, you can say that His Holiness is like the human, you know, they can come in sort of grosser or more subtle. There's more subtle and more gross Nirmanakaya. Not that His Holiness is gross, but in order to see us, for us to see them, they have to manifest as a human, yeah? Because we can't see the Sambhogakaya and the Dharmakaya, only other Buddhas can see that, the truth body. So for us to be able to communicate, you know, for them to be able to communicate with us, for us to be able to receive teachings, you would say, yeah, the Buddha, His Holiness is a kind of, you know, a manifestation of Chenrezig, you know, a sort of type of Nirmanakaya, an emanation body. If we would say that His Holiness is a Buddha, then we'd, and as we say, as all the Tibetans and, you know, most Buddhist countries, you know, cultures, Tibetan Buddhists recognize His Holiness as an emanation of Chenrezig. So you could say that, yes. Okay, just to kind of touch in on the mantra. Oh, I also wanted to say, there's one part I missed out about the lotus. Sometimes you see the lotus, so generally it's blue, but there are times when they don't, you know, they paint the lotuses different colors. Another aspect, what the lotus embodies, sometimes you'll see like one and then another couple sprouting like this. And this is actually the right depiction, because also what the lotus shows with these 3, the main one open and the other one slightly open and the other one still to open, is showing that Tara is she's at the manifestation of the enlightened activity of all the Buddhas of the past, the present, and the future. So that's what the lotus shows as well. She's the activity for all the past Buddhas, enlightened activities of all the present Buddhas and all the future Buddhas. So just showing that, you know, no matter where we are, what time, what eon, what place, Tara's always going to be there, you know. So mantra. So all the mantras, Lama Zopa Rinpoche says, they all start with Om, and a lot of them start with Om, most of them start with Om, and most of them finish with Soha. And they all embody, within that, they all embody all the qualities that they contain the path to enlightenment. Mantra has this kind of power to transform our mind and hearts into virtue. It has this inherent power. And it's literally translated mantra. What does mantra mean? Ladies, gentlemen, anyone else want to hazard? What does mantra actually translate as? What's its meaning? Jana? You look like you're leaning forward. What is a mantra? What does it mean?
Mind protection?
Yeah, very good. Yeah, it means mind protection. And I think it's really good to always remember that somehow for me. It's like the first thing it does is it's protecting our mind for delusion. And it's protecting our mind from all the all the different layers of obstacles. Kind of protecting and moving, you could say, at the same time. And also it's a series. So what is mantra as well? It's a series of Sanskrit syllables that evoke the energy or quality of a particular Buddha or Bodhisattva. All these deities have a mantra that's associated with them, and it's invoking and inviting into our hearts, into our being as we chant it. What we're doing is invoking and inviting the quality of that particular Buddha or Bodhisattva. It's like a sacred sound that brings blessings to ourselves and others, and it's a tool to transform our mind into one that's more compassionate and wise. So why are mantras in Sanskrit? Because mantra is considered a divine language. Sanskrit, is considered a divine language in India. It's the language of many of the Buddhist scriptural texts, especially in the practice of Vajrayana. And I did touch on that point in the first class, how Sanskrit is this really sacred language. You know, that even all the tantras are taught in Sanskrit. And even if they're translated, as we see now, into Tibetan, then into English, into other languages, the essence of the mantra's always kept in Sanskrit for a very particular reason. Because the word Sanskrit itself means something well or completely formed, purified, hallowed, refined. So the essential meaning or quality of each word or letter in Sanskrit, it has this, it's like the meaning is contained and created within the sound. So how does it really work? Again, as we were saying, it has this power to separate our body, speech, and mind from ordinary mundane thought. The vibration of mantra can automatically unify or split our mind into single pointedness. So we're just getting a little bit here for those of us who may be new to mantra recitation, why we really do mantra, So once we know that, then we'll have a more conviction in the quality of mantra and how it can really support and benefit our mind on the path. And it also can, I know myself, when my mind's more distracted, what helps me more than anything, or when I have a big sort of delusion coming up, I find that reciting mantra really, really helps to support my mind, bring it back to where it needs to be. So as Lama Yeshe says, it can bring you back into the here and now and really support your mind and bring it back to, stop it running around. So it has this power to focus and settle the mind. And again, when we recite mantra, the reason for reciting mantra with any deity is to spur or draw our mind closer to the qualities of the deity. It's almost like a mantra is almost like the DNA of wisdom and compassion. Within its DNA is the quality of that particular deity. And again, just another quote from Lama Zopa Rinpoche. So we can just read that. And this is a picture of Rinpoche, as Rinpoche did extensively, reciting mantras for animals. That was a huge part of Rinpoche's activity, benefiting animals, certainly by feeding them. We know in, Rinpoche's houses, Rinpoche would feed the animals, but it wasn't just about that. It was about bringing them Dharma. I would see Rinpoche sitting for maybe an hour, 2 hours reciting a sutra and reciting mantras to his dog, and the goldfish. And just, wherever Rinpoche was, it was all about, much, much, much about benefiting the animals through reciting sutras and reciting mantra. So especially certain mantras have this kind of purifying ability to affect animals' minds. When they hear the sound, it creates these really positive seeds or imprints on their mind for future lives. So I realise we're at 7:30 now, so let's just finish with just starting the mantra for next week, the meaning of the mantra. So we'll just start with Om. Om. So Om, within Om, there's these 3 sort of mini syllables, O, A, Hum. And we know that Om is usually, when we did the Tara meditation, we did this, visualizing the Om coming from Tara, from our crown, and purifying our body. So Om has this kind of quality of embodying body, the holy body of the Buddha, all the qualities that are embodied in the body of the Buddha. As I said, this youthfulness, and I mean, there's many, many qualities of the Buddha's body. It does manifest as youthfulness, but it's beyond birth, aging, sickness, and death. And it says the holy body of the Buddha can actually, it pervades all phenomena. When consciousness is liberated from a sense of self, even the body of the Buddha pervades all phenomena. So that O or Om. Hope somebody's enjoying chanting. Then the A is the speech, the holy speech of the Buddha, encompassing all the enlightened speech. And Hum encompasses the mind of the Buddha. So even with an Om, and we know even in other traditions, it's one of the syllables that's most commonly, used, pronounced. It's in all the mantras. So even within that includes the holy body, speech, and mind of the Buddha. It's just that syllable alone. So that's where we start the mantra. So next week, we'll go on to the rest of the meaning of the mantra, and then we're going to dip into the different fears that Tara liberates us from through reciting the mantra. So it's liberating us from samsara, and Tutari liberating from fear. So we're going to go into a little bit more deeper meaning of the mantra and how she liberates us from the different levels of external fear and internal fear that comes in the mind. All the way up to liberation, So as I say, Tara's the liberator, Tara's an embodiment of enlightened activity. So she really, this whole mantra, I mean, so many people when they meet the Dharma, they feel this connection with Tara. Does some of us feel like that when we met the Dharma? Maybe out of all the deities, we sort of feel like, I like Tara. I like that practice. Does anyone have that experience, kind of feeling a connection with Tara or already now? Any hands? Life has meaning, Sue. It's kind of an easier one. Somehow she's easier to connect with. Some of the other deities might feel a wee bit more distant, but I think just covering that female aspect, we can sort of feel that compassion more easily. And somehow our aspect, because the right leg's forward, coming always to our aid, showing that there's a kind of openness there. I don't know, it just feels easier to connect with her, I feel. So anyway, thank you for joining. Maybe we'll do a couple of dedications. Let me just see if I can share the previous practice, because I believe in there I have some dedication. No, let me just find here. Okay. I think there's a couple of dedications here. We can see that here. Front slide. Okay, so dedicating, just taking a moment just to think about anything that kind of caught your attention maybe, or you thought, okay, well, I hadn't heard that before. So maybe that, a wee bit more deeper like connection with Tara, deepening our understanding of the kind of the qualities that Tara embodies. Remembering her kind of life story, the story or the legend about how she came about through this kind of energy, courage, not being overwhelmed by, sometimes we get overwhelmed by our own suffering, our own problem, or by the problems of the world, right? There's a lot going on, so we can feel a wee bit overwhelmed by what's going on out there. So Tara really, that's her quality, liberating us from external problems, internal problems, especially our own feeling, our own sense of being overwhelmed at times. Our own sense of being overwhelmed by fears or obstacles, that's her quality to sort of clear the mind of that, clear the heart of that. Bring about us more spontaneous clarity or wisdom or vision in our lives. A kind of softer compassion towards ourselves and others. And in that space, just dedicating all the positive energy of the class tonight by listening, reflecting, meditating. May I, each one of us here, all sentient beings, gradually, through the enlightened activity Tara and all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and through our own effort and practice, may we all achieve the state of Guru Tara and lead each and every sentient being into our enlightened state because of these merits. So just try to feel that, create a powerful seed in our mental continuum through dedication that, you know, whatever we do positive in our lives, we always try and dedicate that. As they say, a drop, small drops, slowly become a glass filled with water, slowly become a bucket filled with water, slowly become an ocean, you know. So each time we do virtue, you know, it's just accumulating in that way, becoming more and more vast. So eventually we have all these oceans of qualities of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, the Guru Tara, of our spiritual teachers. It's just step by step planting these seeds. So we dedicate that for ourselves and all sentient beings, family, friend, for this world. May Tara bring release from harm for the elements, war, sickness, disease. May Tara protect ourselves and all beings in this way. And then we just finish by doing that dedication, especially for the precious Supreme Bodhicitta, the main goal in this Mahayana path, to develop this beautiful mind of Bodhicitta, as we see in His Holiness and our teachers, our gurus, as we see parts of it in each other, you know, as we develop on the path. We dedicate for all beings to achieve this awakening mind. O Janju Senju Rinpoche, Mage Panange Kushi, Geva Nyamba Mebayi, Gone Gonju Elwar Shuk. May I quickly become Guru Arya Tara and lead each and every sentient being into our enlightened state because of these merits. May the precious Supreme Bodhicitta not yet born arise. May that arisen not decline but increase more and more. Let me just see if I can, I think I have His Holiness's long life prayer, sorry. Oh, back. Do I have it? Yeah. And then for His Holiness to live a long life, incomparable, kind, and supreme Tenzin Gyatso, the wish-granting, wish-fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world, may you have a long life and may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. And also, we're running out of time, but we also dedicate for the swift and most auspicious return of Kyabje Lama's Thupten Zopa Rinpoche. May we all have the merit, the goodness of karma, to be able to see Rinpoche's swift return as quickly as possible and with great ease.